Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, good comrades, I will give my quick recap today of what happened as far as Maandamano. There's nothing really to report, but I feel like there's a few things that were noticeable in this Maandamano. Well, this was an extension of last time's Maandamano, the ones that happened on Monday. This one was a little bit more subdued, but the death toll was higher, and it got a little bit chaotic today too. One thing that is exposed is that some of these protesters, especially in Nairobi, I think in the expressway, if you guys watch your news, these Maandamano protesters were out there destroying the rails of the dividers in the expressway, which showed it's another example of the chaos that happens in Maandamano. And like I said in my previous video, that whenever there is chaos or anarchy, it plays into Raila's hands. Raila wants this to happen because his whole idea is if there's chaos, the peace-loving wananchi who are not necessarily involved in this Maandamano will come out and say, hey, listen, Ruto should sit down with Raila because the country is getting, chaotic. Let those two people sit down and strike a deal. So that's what Raila wants. And there's a video clip, not a video clip, but an audio clip of Raila actually responding to the fact that the youth were actually engaging the police into this running and chaos, tear gas stuff, exchange, okay? And here's the clip, so you know what I'm talking about, okay?
Running battles with the police.
Nasema vijana leo wamenifurahisha kabisa. Tumefanya kazi muhimu. Naona jamaa wanatupa tear gas, hiyo inashirikisha alafu wao wanaanza kusonga. Tena wanatupa na mnarudisha. Mpaka sasa tuliporudi hapa, nikiwa wengine wanasema ati turudi. Hapana bwana. Wewe usiwe na wasiwasi. Tunaenda mbele.
However,
okay, you saw that clip. So, like I said, Raila wants this. He wants anarchy. He wants that because, as I explained, if there's anarchy, he wants people to be like, hey, these two guys need to sit down. Just like 2017. Remember, when there was demonstrations, when they swore him in, it got so chaotic that, Mr. Kenyatta panicked and called Raila for a sit down, for a handshake, and he got his nusumkati. And as you can remember, earlier this year, Raila Odinga said that he wants something akin to what the 2007 Accord, something similar to that, which was Government of National Unity. It was a nusumkati of itself, the agreement that he got with Kibaki when he became the Prime Minister. So that's what he's been advocating for, and I guess it failed in the bipartisan parliamentary talks. So now he's back in Maandamano. But back to Maandamano. So what really happened today? It was nothing new. It was a bunch of protesters going out there causing mayhem. People were being, cars were being burnt, and whatever. It was just a mess, the normal mess. Overall, I didn't see anything that stood out, okay? Yes, like as I mentioned, the death toll I think was 11, and it might be going up by now as I make this video, but nothing really out of the ordinary, Again, the intensity of this Maandamano cannot be compared to the how charged the 2017 and 2007 Maandamanos were. Yes, these people, the Maandamanos that happened in Mombasa, Kitengela, Kisii, there were scenes of, people throwing tear gas, the exchange with the police, but it wasn't as bad as how it was in 2017. 2017, the majority of Kenyans, wanted Uhuru Kenyatta out. That's the difference, okay? But 2023, it's more like people are protesting the high price of living, the cost of living, okay? Which is different. So the energy is not the same. Yes, people are frustrated. Yes, people are annoyed, but it's not to that extent, okay? Now, here's what happened. What's really kind of stood out for me, and this has happened in Busia. And I mentioned this. The longer this Maandamano goes on, people might turn against Raila, especially if the cost of living goes down, okay? And Ruto can do that, okay? In Busia, I think it was Wajakoya and somebody else, I forgot his name, who attempted to have a Maandamano in Busia, and the residents come out and pelted stones, Wali Kuza, they chased away Wajakoya and his crew and said, there'll be no Maandamano here. Take a look. Now, as you see, some parts of the country are growing increasingly agitated with this fact that, we are having these Maandamanos once a week or twice a week, and it kind of disrupts the everyday businesses that's going on, okay? That's why I'm saying, the more we have this Maandamano, it actually might turn against Raila Odinga, okay? And it will come back to Nairobi. Now, what can Ruto do to have this Maandamano actually turn against Raila Odinga, okay? Ruto can do this several things. Number one, he can subsidize these commodities that people need. So let's say fuel prices, okay? Food prices. I know I told you about this clip when Cheragay came to Spice FM and he mentioned that, under the recommendation of IMF, they were not to subsidize fuel, gas, mafuta, okay? But with the growing unease among the population, this is some measures that Ruto can take. He can say, hey, listen, you know what? We're going to subsidize bei ya mafuta and bei ya unga so that people can have food, can buy food in affordable prices, okay? You bring the prices of commodities down when you do that. It might be, for a while, maybe 6 months or 7 months or a year until you get the next harvest. Then maybe you can, you can raise the prices or just have the prices will actually come down once we have more than enough when we have our harvest, okay? So those are some things that just one thing that Ruto can do. Because guess what? If it tackles this issue of cost of living, it will help. It will leave Raila with nothing to run on, because right now he just jumped on this bandwagon about finance bill and unga and the cost of living, okay? The finance bill, it might be a blessing in disguise for Ruto, okay? It's an opportunity for him to actually go back and rewrite the whole thing, okay? Draft another finance bill with lower taxation. He should join hands with Okiya Mtata and Jimmy Wanjigi, what they're saying. Because as you guys know, if you're paying attention, they're basically advocating for this idea, the concept of odious debt, okay? And actually auditing how much we actually owe, how much we collect every year, and how much we owe from the debts, the loans that we took previously, okay? So if we audit and find out actually how much we owe, then we can actually use the taxes, the current tax rates that we do have right now, and even if we can lower them if we have to, so that we can, government can run, all right? So, like I say, to my bigger point, Ruto can actually take this opportunity to draft another finance bill in case he loses in court. And number two, he can actually subsidize these commodities to bring the cost of living down. That way, Raila Odinga will have nothing to stand on, because the only thing he'll stand on if he does that will be open the servers or whatever. Let's have a new IEBC commission, which that is a battle that most Kenyans do not really care about, except the Azimio folks who are in the minority on that issue. So there's some things that Ruto can do about that. So just a recap. What happened today? There was a little chaos, and surprisingly, when Raila went and spoke, now the police actually went and stopped him from going to Kamkunji. They surrounded his house, and they stopped Martha Karua too from meeting up in Kamkunji. You saw Martha Karua's convoy was being stopped by the police. So Martha Karua had to actually jump behind the border scooter to go to wherever she was going, okay? So the police actually, they were more, they kind of stopped this thing before. They didn't want that whole Raila running around with his followers down to Kamkunji and holding a rally. So the police actually did well there to kind of quell that because, for Kenya Kwanza, they don't want to let this perception that Raila has people on his side, okay? Now, and if you listen to Raila's speech about today, he said that Kenyans needs a new deal. Take a look at this clip and I'll finish up.
So we soldier on. As Kenyans, you have a duty to liberate ourselves as we have always done. It has never been easy. It will not be easy, but it has to be done. With the unity and commitment, we will force Ruto to give Kenyans a good deal. We will shortly communicate the third wave and the next course of action. With the unity, we shall overcome.
As I maintain, that statement was made actually, before he made that statement, he announced that they'll cancel the rally at Kamkunji. And thanks to the police this time were kind of proactive, they were not really reluctant as they were last time. And they kind of, like I mentioned, they went to Raila's house, surrounded it, and stopped Raila from going to Kamkunji. They went and stopped Martha Karua from meeting up with Raila at Kamkunji. And so the police actually stopped him and forced him to cancel that meeting in Kamkunji. I know some people, some Azimio bloggers are arguing that Raila felt like he tricked the government, that, his intention was not to go to Kamkunji, that he wanted people to go somewhere else and protest without him. No. If you're pro Azimio, you would argue that way, but Raila actually was stopped by the police, and they probably told him, hey, listen, you're not having this Kamkunji rally. So it kind of, kind of helped subdue the whole thing. But anyway, again, Raila is not saying what Kenyans need to hear. Kenya does not need a new deal, okay? He might need a new deal for him to be in government or have his position as whatever position he's vying for through these talks. But Kenyans do not need a new deal. Kenyans need the cost of living to go down, and they need a finance bill that's not going to hurt them as far as taxes are concerned. So to finish up, just a quick recap of what I talked about. Maandamano went on. Unfortunately, the deaths, the number of deaths that happened went up compared to the last time. And Azimio protesters were exposed in a manner that showed that these guys were actually not peaceful. In some parts, not everywhere. There's some parts where they were peaceful, like in Mombasa and so forth. Okay? But we saw in Kisii and in that highway there in Mlolongo, where the protesters were destroying the rails that divides the highway. And also there's reports that there's a place in Sondu where tribal clashes are starting to happen. The border between Kisumu and Kericho, I guess. There's being reported that people are fighting there. So yeah, these Maandamano, they're not as intense as they were in 2017 and 2007, okay? It's not, the number of people who came out are not as many. But yes, I think the turnout was still kind of impressive, not too much, but it was impressive overall. People showed up, and it made news, good propaganda tool for Azimio's side. But will this be enough to make Ruto kind of sit down and give Raila Nusumkate? I really don't think so. I don't think so. But again, I said there's some things that Ruto can do to kind of leave these guys wondering. He can bring the prices down by subsidizing the prices of the commodities, to bring the prices of commodities down. And yeah. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, share, like, comment, and tell me what you think. I'll talk to you guys later, and peace.